Apple just released the iPhone 11. Is it worth the price? How does it compare to the iPhone XS, XR, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max? Let's find out. The iPhone 11 retails for $700, which in my opinion is pretty expensive for a phone, but compared to the iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max's prices of $1,000 and $1,100 respectively, the iPhone 11 seems like a steal. Additionally, Apple has charged around $650 for the phone since the iPhone 4 was released in 2010. I recommend sticking with the iPhone 11 over getting the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max, as it is the most affordable 2019 phone with the highest value if you don't care about OLED displays and outrageously good cameras. So what specs come with a $700 phone? You get 64 gigabytes of storage with an option to pay an extra $50 for 128 gigabytes or an extra $150 for 256 gigabytes. 64 gigabytes is just fine for most people. I personally stream music and videos, and I upload all my photos to the cloud. The screen is the same 6.1 LCD display included in the iPhone XR. The resolution is 1792 by 828 pixels or 326 pixels per inch. The rear-facing cameras are both 12 megapixels. You get a wide-angle lens and an ultra-wide-angle lens and support for up to 4K recording at 60 frames per second. The front-facing camera is also 12 megapixels, again with support up to 4K recording at 60 frames per second as well. The processor is Apple's A13 Bionic chip. The iPhone 11 has the same 4 gigabytes of RAM included in the iPhone XS and XS Max. The connector is still the slow and dated Lightning port. The size is 151 millimeters high, 76 millimeters wide, and 8 millimeters thick. It weighs 194 grams. It can use the latest Wi-Fi 6 standard with speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. It comes in a multitude of colors: black, white, red, yellow, purple, and green. And it ships with iOS 13. Regarding the screen, the iPhone 11 includes an LCD display with 326 pixels per inch. This pixel density is lower than the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max's 458 ppi. At 1400 by 1 typical contrast ratio, you won't get perfect contrast like you do in the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max's OLED displays, but the LCD display in this phone is just fine for what it is. Additionally, there is no more 3D Touch on any of the iPhone 11 models, but I personally never used 3D Touch, so this isn't that big of a letdown to me. If you were a big 3D Touch user, Haptic Touch is introduced in iOS 13 as an alternative, which is just long pressing instead of pressing harder. Regarding the size, the iPhone's 151mm height and 8mm thickness are just fine. The 76mm width causes the iPhone 11 to be a two-handed phone though. This is wider than both the iPhone XS and 11 Pro. It feels premium with glass and aluminum chassis, but it is very slippery. I highly recommend a case or textured skin. All this said, Apple did increase the thickness over the iPhone XS and XR. The thickness increased from 7.7 to 8.3 millimeters. I think this is negligible, but Apple did this to improve battery life. Compared to the iPhone XR, the battery capacity increases from 2,942 mAh to 3,110 mAh. Due to this capacity increase, the battery life is expected to be 1 hour longer than the iPhone XR. Therefore, you get up to 17 hours of video, 10 hours of streaming video, and 65 hours of audio. That said, if you need the absolute best in battery life, I'd recommend paying more for the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max. The 11 Pro gets 4 hours more than the iPhone XS, and the 11 Pro Max gets 5 hours more than the XS Max. Although you can wirelessly charge your iPhone 11, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max, there is no bilateral wireless charging at this time. Simply put, you can't charge your Apple Watch or AirPods with your iPhone by resting them on top of the iPhone. That said, rumors have surfaced saying that the hardware exists in this phone, but the software just isn't quite there yet, and this feature was disabled. Maybe a future software update will enable bilateral charging. The 3D spatial audio speakers in the iPhone 11, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max sound equally great for phone speakers. Although not as good as the AirPods or the HomePod, everything does sound slightly better than last year's iPhone XS and XR. Regarding the ports, the iPhone 11, 11 Pro, and 11 Pro Max all come with only one port. the Lightning port. This outdated port is 7 years old at this point and can only transfer files at USB 2.0 speeds up to 35 megabytes per second. It is rumored that next year Apple will finally update the port to USB-C, which has a much faster transfer speed and allows for faster charging. The performance on the iPhone 11 is great, as Apple's A13 Bionic chip doesn't disappoint. The Slingshot Extreme 3D Mark score is 4967, Geekbench 5 benchmarked it at 1325 single-core score, and a 3323 multi-core score. Compared to the iPhone XS and XR, Apple says the A13 chip is 20% faster in both CPU and GPU applications than the A12. So the cameras on the iPhones have been great for many years. The iPhone 11 is no exception. It comes with two rear-facing cameras, a 12 megapixel wide and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera. The dual lens camera is an improvement over the iPhone XR's single camera, but the iPhone XS offered a wide-angle lens and a telephoto lens. If you want a telephoto lens this year, you'll have to get the 11 Pro or 11 Pro Max, which includes 3 lenses: a wide-angle lens, an ultra-wide-angle lens, and a telephoto lens. On the iPhone 11, rotating the phone from landscape to portrait mode will still take landscape photos. It will utilize the ultra-wide-angle shot. The front-facing 12 megapixel camera is the same on all variants of the iPhone 11, which is an upgrade from the 7 megapixel camera on the XS and XR. And all 3 variants come with very good video stabilization. So in conclusion, if you want the latest 2019 iPhone, one that is blazing fast, has great battery life, and comes with a multitude of colors, but you don't want to spend over $1,000 to get it, then the iPhone 11 is for you. Just remember, the Lightning port is a little dated, the camera is missing features available on the iPhone 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max, and it doesn't include an OLED display. In my opinion, it is just fine for the everyday user. Click like if you liked this video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to see more, and check out dansbesttech.com for a full written review.